Imagine you having a family attorney and they give you a call. They say they need you to come into the office and to bring two forms of ID. When you get there, they have you sit in a conference room. They ask you for your ID. They go make photocopies of it. And then they tell you, yeah, they hit you with the bomb. Your grandparents, although they passed 5 years ago, we had to wait 5 years to give you this message along with these instructions. Your grandparents left you an inheritance. Now, we have to give you the remaining amount after taxes were paid, after debts were paid, after the legal fees were paid. So we need you to sign here because we have to turn in to you $800 million. Yes. After everything is paid, you're left with $800 million. My question to you before we even go on: what kind of impact would $800 million have on your life? Think about that, because we're going to discuss after the introduction. Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Richard Burns. And no, you're not lost. You're in the right place. This is the Solomon Project, where it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep that counts. Now that you've marinated on this fantasy, maybe that fantasy will turn to a reality after watching this channel for a certain amount of time. That would be nice, wouldn't it? How would your life change? Would it be different? I'm going to give you a scenario, and I want you to comment below and let me know what you feel about this. I know that I try to discourage everyone from not allowing their emotions to dictate what they do with regards to their money. That's very important. But for this little bit, I need your emotions to get activated. I need you to get a little emotional for this. This is just a hypothetical situation, but it's my way of trying to bring a message home. You see, as usual, because I never miss, I was watching one of the professor's channel, and the professor brought up something that's probably near and dear to many of the people that come on this channel or will come on this channel. Right? Because you're going to recommend this channel to all your friends and your family? Thank you for that. Yeah. Let's get some Odium before we get started. By the way, carbonated water is a cancer killer. Yeah. Reparations. Sensitive topic for many people. Reparations. Let's tackle it from this angle. Let's say you and someone you met in college, a friend, graduated from the same subject, got the same degrees. Maybe both of you have your masters. Maybe both of you have your PhDs. Whatever the case is, it's in the same subject matter. You both graduate at the same time. You both get jobs in your field of interest. You're making what is considered to be decent money for your field. Let's say it's a 6-digit income. Let's say you're making $175,000 a year. You're 24, 25 years old. And you both open up accounts. Both open up, let's say, investment accounts. And just to keep things equal, you decide to invest in an imaginary fund that's yielding 25% a year. Imaginary. And let's imagine also that you both are very aggressive at investing money. Are you serious right now? Worst time ever, we'll discuss later. And forgive me for that. You're both depositing aggressively. Let's just say, for the sake of this imaginary situation, that by the time you get to 55 years old, your friend calls you and says, hey, I now have, because of the investment account, I have enough money now to be able to retire at 55. And you say, really? How much have you been depositing? And they tell you, well, I've been depositing $2,000 a week for the past X amount of years. And with the growth and the dividends, I now have $20 million. And I can retire right now with $20 million. So you rush over to your account because during this conversation, you ask them, well, what did you invest in? Oh, I invested in this fund. Really? That's the same fund I got. And I've been depositing $2,000 a week for the same number of years. Wow. You know what? I never bothered to check. Let me go check. I probably have $20 million in there. So you go and you check your account. And you're thinking that you've been accumulating interest, or you've been accumulating dividends. And when you open up your account, you've got $400,000 in your account. I guess you can retire on $400,000, but it definitely won't be the same. So you call your friend back and you say, well, hold on a second. Are you sure that you invested in this fund? Your friend says, yeah, absolutely. That's the fund. Huh. I'll call you back. So you call the brokerage and they tell you that no, everything checks out. It looks good. Well, wait a minute. I have a friend that invested in the same fund for the same amount of time, started at the same time, deposited the same amounts I did, and they have 20 million and I only have 400,000? Can you help me out here? Can you help me understand? Well, I would check with your friend and maybe they're lying to you. All right, I'll go check. So you call your friend. Uh, I don't mean to be nosy, intrusive. I know this is private and personal. It's your fun. But do you happen to have a copy of your statement? And the reason why I'm asking you is because I've been depositing the same amount for the same amount of time into the same fund, and yet I can't retire like you can. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem. I'm just gonna block out my account number and whatever other personal thing on it, and yeah, I'll send you a copy. Sends a copy. There it is, $20 million. That checks out somewhat. But how do you know if your friend didn't fudge the numbers, changed it? So you call back and you let them know, hey, this is impressive. Is it possible, and forgive me for asking, but is it possible that we could do a three-way phone call and can you ask them how much you have in your account? You know what? As a matter of fact, let me call. No, go ahead. You call. So she calls. She calls. You're on the phone. And you hear the whole, this is a recorded conversation, this, that, and the third. And then finally the representative comes on. Who am I speaking with? Oh, you're speaking to such and such. Okay, we need to just ask you a couple of questions just to verify your identity. Fine. She's identified. Everything is cool. And she asked the representative, I need to withdraw some of my money, but I forgot. I can't find my statement. I forgot. Can you please tell me the balance so that I know I want to make arrangements? Sure thing. Give me 1 second. Ding. Oh yeah, your balance is 20 million. 20 million. Okay. Are there any restrictions to, or are there any regulations about withdrawing certain amounts, and how can I go about legally withdrawing certain amounts? Oh, certainly. Gives her the breakdown, anything over 10,000, this, that, and the third, legalities, questionnaires, whatever the case is. But she's got a balance of 20 million. So the copy of the statement checks out along with what the representative said. Remember, they're both on the line talking with the representative, obviously one party's not talking to the representative. But it's confirmed. It's $20 million. You say thank you, you hang up. You got questions now because it's the same fund depositing the same amount. You got 400,000. She's got 20 million. What is that all about? Well, if you're going to ask questions, you're going to start digging into history. Yeah, you're going to engage in some historical information, because you want to turn the clock back to try to figure out why the discrepancy, why the difference. In order to do that, you have to do some investigating, and when you investigate, you got to dig into the history of something. That's what the professor's degree is in, history. That's why I'm putting emphasis on history. So now you're asking questions. And it gets to the point where you wind up speaking directly to a supervisor, a manager, whatever the case is, and all of a sudden they don't have an answer for you, and they hit you with the, we're going to do some research and we'll call you back. Well, that phone call is taking way too long as far as you're concerned, because how much research do they have to do? It's been 2 months and you've waited patiently and no phone call. And you check your call records and no phone call. How are you feeling so far? How are you feeling so far? I mean, it's got me to the point where I gotta hit the odium. Yep. What difference would it make your friend being able to retire with $20 million at age 55 and you can't? What difference does it make if she has $20 million and she's raising a family and you're raising a family and you got 400,000? Would there be a difference? 400,000, 20 million. Would there be a difference? Let's say at age 55 she wants to retire and start a business. Would those 20 million help her? You got 400,000. Will you be able to have the same amount of leverage as your friend does with 20 million? You won't. You won't have the same leverage. You won't be able to borrow the same amount. You can start the same business as your friend, and the probability of you failing with 400,000 is much greater than her with 20 million. She will have access to capital that you will not, because she's going to be able to leverage $20 million. You have 400,000. What does that mean? Provided, of course, that she's a responsible person Just like you're responsible also, financially responsible. You know how to manage money, you know how to manage a business. But she has $20 million that she could leverage with. You have 400,000. What does that mean for her kids? What does that mean for yours? Will she be able to advance faster, higher, because she has 20 million as opposed to your 400,000? Yes, she can. All things being equal, yes, she will advance to a higher level and faster. What does that mean for her kids? What does that mean for the grandkids? And it's not because you're lazy. You're equally as industrious as your friend with 20 million. You invested in the same place as your friend, but your friend has 20 million and you only have 400,000. Do you feel like the brokerage did you wrong? And that the brokerage owes you? It's the same fund, the same amount deposited. Why does she have 20 million? Why do you not have 20 million? Same deposits, same amount of time investing, started at the same time. Matter of fact, you opened up the accounts on the same day. Maybe you were on the phone with each other, encouraging one another. Yeah, let's do this. I know it's scary, but let's do this. We can do this. Richard Burns told us we can do this. She's got 20 million and you don't. Maybe you sit there and think about it. I ought to sue this brokerage because they're not giving me answers. They're beating around the bush. Something's going on. They're not breaking it down. They have a fiduciary responsibility. Remember that word, fiduciary? Yes. This particular brokerage prides itself because they are fiduciaries. Okay. So somebody dropped the fiduciary ball. Your son or your daughter's in college. She hears this story for the first time. He or she hears the story for the first time. Mom, what did you do about it? Did you sue him? I thought about it. But when I checked into the legal fees and everything like that, it was just going to be so expensive. The case was going to be long and drawn out. And at the end of the day, I would have used up my 400,000 just trying to defend myself. So you know what? I said, forget it. Yeah, that child might get highly upset. They might understand your explanation, but they're still going to be upset. Who's the brokerage, they're going to ask. I got a social media platform, and I'm going to put them on blast. Okay, well, listen. She's got 20 million. You got 400,000. More leverage. Better access to capital. Now, for some people in the who'd their mindset may not be on these concepts of using leverage to grow their business, establish businesses, establish relationships with other business people, growing the amount of leverage that they have. Might not be on their mind right now. They might be extremely young or not exposed. Fine. But let's go back to your child. Your friend got 20 million and they did the exact same thing you did and you got ripped off, maybe? I don't know if you can say that. I don't know if you can use the term ripped off because you might have generated a profit. So technically you haven't been ripped off, but somebody got some splaining to do, because how is it possible that your friend has 20 million using the same tool and you do not have that? Comment down below. How do you feel about that? Let's turn the clock back 100, 200 years, and your great-great-grandparents went through something similar or worse, And they suffered an injustice. Other people who took advantage of your great-great-grandparents became wealthy, but there was nowhere for them to turn because the system of justice was actually unjust to your great-great-grandparents. Now you got one group of people that are living an incredible life, understand that your great-great-grandparents were not given a choice. They were not given a choice. You were going to do whatever you were told to do. You were not going to profit from your labor. No, you're not going to profit from this labor. Somebody else is going to profit from this labor. Somebody else's child, grandchild, is going to go to Harvard because they got the money like that. Your children or your great-great-grandparents' children, they've got 3 options. That's all that is available to them. They can continue to labor for just sustenance, right? Food, some shelter. You'll have something that you can call clothing. We'll just call it that. That's one choice. Continue to labor. The second choice is to just go off into the wilderness and hope that you're not chased down and punished severely, maimed, maybe even killed, because you left. Because you were the source, because your great-great-grandparents were the source of that other person's wealth, and they decided to leave. So no, you can't do that. You got to keep making me wealthy. You're going to go where? To the court? What court? The court is not going to listen to anything you got to say. Or maybe they will listen to, but guess what? The decision that the court's going to make is the same decision that they make for everybody, just like your great-great-grandparents. You get nothing. Matter of fact, whoop them. So you got this group of people that just said, well, guess what? The sun is about to come out now. You better be out there working. And if you're tired and hungry and the sun hasn't gone down yet, well, guess what? You better shut your mouth and go back to work. Say one more thing. Oh, the flogging cane just came out. You got a complaint? Three or four generations later, you bump into the descendants of the people that did that to your great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents. And they pull out of some exotic vehicle and they look at you up and down like, damn, you stink. Who are you? Oh, who am I? I'm the descendant of the people that made your descendants rich. I'm the reason why you're hanging out in that exotic vehicle. And that's the reason why I'm on a bicycle, because I can't afford anything. Because we never accumulated the resources to do what you do. Now, had we had those resources, we would have been fine. Matter of fact, a group of us took off and went to some place called Tulsa, Oklahoma. They were doing great. But just like everyone else, they were assaulted. They got smashed. They had their homes burned. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, the governor actually activated the National Guard, and they literally dropped bombs on that community on Black Wall Street. Have you ever heard the band, the Gap Band? One of their most popular songs are, "You Dropped the Bomb on Me." You dropped the bomb on me, baby. I know I don't do it any justice by trying to sing it, but if you're not familiar with the song, go ahead, look it up. You Dropped the Bomb on Me by the Gap Band. GAP is an acronym. They named the band after an acronym. The acronym are the three letters of the three main streets in Black Wall Street: Garner, Archer, and Pine. Garner, Archer, and Pine. That's GAP. That's GAP. The Gap Band. You dropped the bomb on me. What was that, like 100 years ago? That's not that far back. The descendants of these people from Tulsa, the descendants of these people from Rosewood, the descendants of these people from so many different places, that one town in Georgia, if they had leverage, it was destroyed. And there wasn't a court in this country that was helping any of these people get back to where they were, as many other people do. You have groups of people here that use the court system to their advantage, and it works for them. Doesn't work in our community all the time. Most of the time it doesn't. And if it is working, it's only recent, and it's still not that much. It's still disproportionate. And all those incidences and all those events come down to one thing, and that's why I'm talking about it on this channel. It all comes down to money. The money that you need to leverage to move on, to build businesses. It's getting taken away from you. We already have the necessary ingredients. So, where do you stand on this? Are we owed for all the atrocities that were imposed on us, that was inflicted upon us? Can we go and say, hey, we played the game, we demonstrated that we know how to play the game, we participated in the game, but the referee made sure that we lost every time. Can we do what the people that did to us, can we do what they do? Can we go to court and say, hey, you owe us? Right now, with the odium that I'm drinking right now, if I slander this company, if I got a platform and I got enough people on my platform and I slander this company, what do you think they're going to do? Are they going to say, you know what? That guy Richard Burns talked a lot of junk about us, and yeah, our sales went down 13% because of him, because of Richard Burns. We'll just take the loss. We'll behave better and just take the loss. Hell no. They'll have me in court. They'll be suing me. They're going to want money for damages. They're going to want me to pay for my legal fees and theirs. Yeah. We were done wrong. Well, I say we because of the community. I'm not from the United States originally. Well, kinda. But my family's not. My family's not from the United States. We suffered our own situation, just as blacks did here, but our suffering was in a different place, a different country. So I don't believe that whatever reparations blacks here in the United States get, I don't consider myself entitled to that. But I'm curious to know. I'm curious to know, what do you think about all this? How do you feel after I presented it the way that I did? Did it make you think differently? Did it make you feel like I didn't move the needle at all? And I'm not asking because I'm trying to be some kind of influencer, not that. I'm just curious to know, because with your feedback, your feedback is gonna make me want to keep digging more and more and do more history homework and tie it all into finance. Maybe Kitty will get a better ride. What do you say, Kitty? Let's go get a better ride.
Arabam Dacia, seviyorum çift kalem aça. Göremedi kimseden fayda, işler
No, no, no! Hey!
Disco!